All right, let's finish up with the rest of the lab. Here I am with my last subtractor that I've just created and named it 8 with my initials there. And let's connect it. So I'll just grab the audio output, click, drag, and just kind of push up and keep holding my mouse and just pushing at the top of the screen there until I get to channel 8. And there we go. All right. So how do we get some sound out of these? Well, pretty easy. Let's go ahead and bring up our sequencer window. So right there, again, right there, sequencer window. And let's choose the top subtractor, number 1. And now I'll just scoot this out of the way a little bit. We can either put it up or down that way or click the close button. And let's go ahead and play on our key. And right here, where it says Note On, when I play on my MIDI keyboard here, you'll notice that it tells me it's received a Note On message, and you can see the audio as well on channel 1 and also on the mix bus there. If I want to play something, close that. Let's just click the close box to clean things up. If I want to play the second one down, number 2, just click that channel, and here I am, the second subtractor. And you can see I'm clicking that one. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just enable the top one there. Put that down. And I'm going to go ahead and press on my Option key and collapse all the subtractors. So Option, and that collapses them all. Now I'll just open them one at a time. All right, let's go work on the first one. For the first one, we just want to become familiar with how to select different waveforms in our oscillator section. So here's oscillator 1, here's oscillator 2, here's our noise generator. Those are the 3 sources that we're going to be working with for this lab. So just becoming familiar really with this section up here, oscillator 1, oscillator 2, and the noise generator. Okay. For oscillator 1 and oscillator 2, we have the same waveform options. So right now I've got the triangle wave selected. I'm sorry, not triangle, sawtooth wave selected. Right there, that's what comes up as the default. If I click the up arrow, I get the square wave or pulse wave, triangle wave, and sine wave. So for this lab here, it will tell you in the instructions what wave to choose, but it will be the sine wave. And then after I get the sine wave, Reason gives me a number of other different composite kind of sampled waveforms. They're not periodic waveforms. They are just other samples and other sounds that you can use in Subtractor. We won't get into that for this lab, maybe at another lab. But right now, just know how to choose between your periodic waveforms, and we're going to choose sine wave. Okay? Good to go there. Let's go ahead and close that one, and let's open number 2. On number 2, what we're going to do is just learn, just know that we can combine oscillators. We can have 2 oscillators going at the same time. So I'm going to go ahead down here and enable number 2. And we'll play that on our keyboard. Okay. And let's go ahead and turn on oscillator 2. So let's listen to oscillator 1 by itself. Now let's double that up by turning on another oscillator. And you can hear that it is definitely louder because now we've got 2 waveforms going instead of 1. Okay? So just know that you can turn on and off that second oscillator, and you can mix and match waveforms between the 2. So one with a sawtooth and one with a square wave if you wanted, and then you can change octaves between the 2. All kinds of options there. All right? Let's go ahead and on to number 3. For subtractor number 3, let's hit the down arrow here and expose the front panel. For this one, we're going to be enabling the second oscillator, and then we're going to use the detuning function by sense to fatten up the sound and to create what's called a beat frequency. If you've ever perhaps tuned a guitar where you fret or you play the harmonic at the 5th fret and then at the 7th fret and then tune the 2 strings together, you know that you can hear that beating, a very kind of a slow beating between the 2 strings. That's what's called a beat frequency. That's a third frequency produced when you have 2 strings that are 2 frequencies that are very close together. So what I'm going to do now is first I'm going to go down to my sequencer menu here. Make sure I'm playing number 3 so I can hear it. Okay. And now I'm going to gradually detune. I'm going to make sharp by sense this top oscillator. And now you can hear that beat frequency very slow. Now I'll make the bottom oscillator, oscillator 2, flat. And now you can hear that beat frequency, or that third frequency, sub-audio rate frequency, introduced into the sound. Okay? So a great way to fatten up a sound, just detuning a little bit sharp on the one oscillator and a little bit flat on the other oscillator. Okay? All right. Let's go ahead and close that one. Let's open number 4 and see what we've got planned there. First sequencer mix. There we go. Okay. All right, good. On subtractor number 4, we want to set it up so that we can only hear oscillator number 2. Okay? So here, let's turn on oscillator number 2. And now we've got our mix feature right here. If we pan it all the way to the right, we only hear oscillator 1. Pan it all the way to the left, only hear oscillator 2. Let me pan it all the way to the right and turn off oscillator 2. Now I'm going to pan it, all the way to the left and hear oscillator. I'm panning it all the way to the left to hear oscillator 1 only. Now I'll pan to the right. And you can see I'm trying to play a note here, but I don't hear anything. That's because that is my mix control, and that's how I blend the two together. Or if I just want to hear oscillator 2, that is how I hear it. Okay, just pan it all the way to the right. Okay, subtractor number, let's just leave that set all the way to the right there. Subtractor number 5, let's go ahead and check that one out. And so we can hear it. There we go. And let's make sure we're hearing it here. Sure enough, okay. On this one, we want to tune oscillator 1 up by an octave. So here's our tuning by octave. So oscillator 1 up by an octave. And oscillator 2, we want to tune it up by a perfect fifth. Now, a perfect fifth will have to go over here to where it says semitones. And a perfect fifth, up by number of semitones, isn't 5 semitones. It's actually 7 semitones. So if we started with C, C would be 0, C sharp 1, D 2, D sharp 3, E is 4, F is 5, F sharp is 6, G is 7. So up a perfect fifth, C to G, that's 7 semitones, okay? So let's go ahead and tune that up. 7. Let's turn oscillator 2 on. And let's hear what that sounds like. All right. Good there. Let's go ahead and move on to number 6. And so we can hear it. Let's go ahead and select that. There we go. Let's make sure we've got it. There we go. All right, for subtractor number 6, what we're going to do is we're going to turn on oscillator number 2, and we're going to set both oscillator 1 and 2 to square wave. Okay, and we're going to set the phase control. We're going to tick the subtractive option just to the left of the waveform selection box for each oscillator. So right here, you'll see 3 options, and that is the subtractive option for each oscillator. And let's hear what we've got. Okay. Now I'm going to turn the phase control for oscillator 1 left to about the 10 o'clock position, and oscillator 2 to the 2 o'clock position, right about there. All right. Now, you can hear as we change the phase of that square wave back and forth, we can hear a change in the timbre as well. And as if you check your reading about pulse waves, it will tell you more about the harmonic structure of those. Okay. Let's see. I think we're good there. Let's go to number 7. Okay. On this one, we're going to listen to the noise generator. Okay. So number 7, let's go ahead and, there we go. Oops. There we go there. And, all right. So for noise generator, you can see that we've got oscillator 1, oscillator 2, and noise generator. For the noise generator, we choose that by enabling the noise generator, and let's play something. Well, I can still hear oscillator number 1, so let me pan my mix all the way to the left. Let me pan my mix all the way to the right. And now I just hear noise. So when I pan all the way to the right in my mix section, I can either hear oscillator 2, just noise, or oscillator 2 and noise together. Okay? So if I want to hear just noise, just enable the noise generator, pan the mix all the way to the right. Okay? All right, finally, in number 8, let's go ahead and enable that one. There we go. Okay. For subtractor number 8, what we're going to be doing there is turning keyboard tracking off. Okay. So I'm going to turn on oscillator number 2. Or oscillator 2 will be off. I'm sorry. Okay. And you can see here's something called keyboard tracking, which means that the pitch of the oscillator tracks what I play on the keyboard. So here I'll play a C major scale, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and C. If I turn keyboard tracking off, I'll play those same notes, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and C, and you can hear that the pitch does not change. So that's what keyboard tracking is. The oscillator tracks the pitch as you play up and down the keyboard. All right, so those would be that really would walk you through everything you need to do to all 8 subtractors here in our sources lab. Okay, I'm going to come back with a real short video to just show you how to save everything and turn it in. Okay, all right.